So the big question is this. How entrepreneurs like us who have been breaking with old beliefs, like the idea of holding a 9-to-5 job and living paycheck to paycheck, taking a lifetime to reach business and life success as the only option we have? How do we grow our business in a way that lets us highly service our customers, getting our products and services and the things that we believe in out into the world without diluting our life but enhancing it and taking the journey of internal and external growth? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. Your host is Marina Simon, and welcome to 10 Exit. Life and business as usual? Never again.
Hi guys! How do you discover who is your dream client? Do you know how to do that? It's a question that I've asked myself depending on what am I doing and in order to communicate to my ideal customer, which they call avatar, right? Okay. So let's say you're looking for some really good movie recommendations, right? And you keep asking all your friends, what should I watch? What do you think I should watch, right? And you tell them, hey, listen, I don't like horror movies. Just make sure you don't recommend me horror movies, right? Because you get scared or whatever. But every time a friend comes and say, you know what? There's just this fantastic horror movie I just watched and I need you to see it, right? Even though you just told them you hate horror movies, right? And the next friend says the same, right? Oh my God, I just see this amazing horror movie. And you're like, that's awesome, but I just told you, please, no horror movies, right? So that is exactly the way people feel when they constantly getting shown your marketing materials, right? If it's just to the general public, right? So you're showing your marketing materials, but your business, your product, or your service, and it's just not for them, right? That when it's not your ideal customer, that's the way they feel. It doesn't apply to them. That's not what they need and want, right? So why is that important, right? Why is that important that you discover who is your dream customer? Okay, now, because this one is really, really an important lesson in business, right? Because once you get it, it's easier to really market your product. Now, you cannot market to everyone. Does it make sense? Let's see that you're selling, I'm just giving like a wide example. Let's see that you're selling cooking pans, right? Nowadays, you have outstanding chefs that are, of course, men. But let's see that the majority of your ideal customer for that product will be women, right? So they're like, well, I don't cook. My wife is the one that does the cooking. She does the groceries. Why do you consistently showing me these cooking pans? Just driving me nuts. Show it to my wife. Right? So you do not market to everyone. You can try, but the problem is you fail and you're just wasting resources. Right? So your job as the business owner in this scenario is to pinpoint who those people are and market directly to them. Who is your ideal customer? So, how do I do this? Okay. So the best place to start is creating a customer avatar that represents who exactly your dream customer is. Okay, this is what I mean, basically. A customer avatar is a fictional character that is made up of who your dream or ideal customer is. Did you guys remember the movie Avatar? That's why it's just called an avatar, right? You have to dive in deep to figure out who specifically needs your product or service. Who is the person who really is thirsty for that, right? Who's going to buy it? Example. A man is running a surf shop in the beach, let's see in California, right? He's selling surfboards. surfing gear, and other random beach necessities like sunscreen, boogie boards, sand toys, etc. Now, let's see that his ideal customer is a person named Bill. Bill is 28 years old and rents a house about 30 minutes inland with two of his buddies from work. He's a single guy who sacrifices closer proximity to the beach for cheaper rent so he can spend more money on his passion, which is, you got it, surfing. Now, he works as a bartender in a restaurant on the beach so he can spend as much time close to the water as possible. The restaurant is not cheap, and Bill is personable, good looking. He loves to chat, so he makes pretty good tips during his shifts. Overall, he makes around $40K a year. Now, during his free time, he can be found on the beach with friends or catching a wave, right? He's surfing all day long when he has his free time. His last surfboard was pretty big investment, right? He really put all his savings on it. So right now, he only comes in for beach and surfing gear. He bought his wetsuit and all other accessories from the shop as well. Now, so do you see how really precise we can go with this example? You need to know everything there is to know about your ideal customer, right? So, what is it that you need in order to create this avatar? Okay, so you can start by asking key questions that I'm going to give you here, right? So what do you ask yourself? All right, who are they? Right? Where do they live? Location one, literally. What do they do? Right? Do they surf? Do they work in a restaurant? What do they do? What are their activities? How much do they make? Does he make $40K a year? Does he make $150 a year? Like, how much does that ideal customer of yours makes? What is their problem and how can you fix it? Which is the key question. Right? Okay. So, let's see. The hardest things to understand about business is that some people simply don't really want to buy from you, right? No matter how well you try to resonate with some people, your business, is just not for that people. So this is why it's so important to really build a brand, of your business, what it represents, who it serves. You have to be very specific on what you're doing. You cannot be general, right? There was an example that I was listening the other day. There was a guy that was selling water machines. I don't know if you remember. It was like really hip for the, I don't know, like 10, 15 years ago, right? Everybody has like an alkaline water machine, right? So he's like, oh my God. So who are your clients? Everyone. Why? Because everybody drinks water. You kidding me? Well, guess what, guys? You can't do that. You can't market to everyone because you market to no one. So when you get a good understanding of each of these parts, then you can create content that really aligns with everything your dream customer really wants, right? So magic happens. You have to go out and find your ideal customer, right? Less and less. You can't be just searching for it because your ideal customer, guess what happens? It starts to come to you if you really talk to him. All right, so let's go back to our surf shop example, right? The owner of the shop has surfed all his life. It's how he met his wife. And both of them are teaching their two young boys to surf as well. His surf shop is his baby, right? It's his business, his venture that he and his wife started shortly after the two of them were married. The two of them want to help others become as passionate about surfing as they are. They're very knowledgeable and they're very happy to share this kind of information, right? Tips, tricks, anything that they can share for novice surfers to become better at it. So they keep updating this information, about tides, winds, the weather, right? And they put it there, their new cameras. It's just like their purpose is that the person has a great day surfing. So their business vision is simply to help as many locals as possible become interested in the passionate about surfing. They're friendly to tourists, but certainly prefer helping those that they really know that are their ideal customer. So their voice is real. They're talking to them, right? They're excited to talk about their subject because it's just natural. They love what they do. And I bet that's what happens to you. You love what you do. You love what the service you decide to provide to your customers, or the product you decide to sell to serve your customers better, right? So what do? You spend time where your dream customer spends time. That's why you need to locate where he's at. Where does he hang around? What does he do with his time? So let's see. It's important to reiterate over and over, that you need to spend time where your customer spends time. You've determined your customer spends time, most of their time, let's see, in Instagram and Pinterest, right? But you're putting most of your time and energy into marketing on Twitter. You're doing yourself like a big mistake, right? Like really, you're not helping yourself. Because your people are not on Twitter. They're on Instagram and Pinterest. So what do you have to do? You need to find out where they hang out about and go there and talk to them. And even though that may mean taking pictures, creating graphics, anything you have to do in order to catch their attention, but you're going to reach that ideal customer of yours. It's kind of crazy, right? But your return on investment will start to make a little bit of a change if you start like really, really going where they are. So let's go back to Bill, right? Our ideal customer on the surf shop. So he loves Twitter, so he can catch live updates, from the local weather channels, and he loves snap photos on his iPhone and upload them in his Instagram feed. His friends post quick videos, clips on Instagram stories, and they watch each other, right? So the shop owner understands this information about his ideal customer. So he also puts his attention of the marketing efforts in Twitter and Instagram. You should absolutely be doing the same, because you are the guy for your business. You need to figure out which platforms does your dream customer prefers and use. Where do they hang up? Where do they like spending time? Where can you talk to them? Right? So let's see, when you create your customer profiles, okay, influencers they follow. Who are the guys they follow? Do they follow Oprah? Do they follow Tony Robbins? Do they follow Russell Brunson? I don't know. Who do they follow? Do they follow, I don't know, CNN, Fox News, whatever? Well, they're influencers, correct? Now, what websites they visit? What websites do they normally check out? Now, what emails have they opened, right? What blog articles do they read? What products have they bought? What content do they download or they consume? And in what way, right? What venues do they check into? What searches do they do? So all that thing gives you more information about them. Now, how do you create content that resonates with your dream customer? Have you ever heard of the cocktail party analogy before? Okay, so I'm going to tell you how does this work. If you go to a cocktail party to try a network and meet new people, but you spend the entire night talking about only yourself, you're probably not going to make any friends, right? In fact, people are going to actively avoid you or avoid your conversation so they don't get stuck with you. Now, marketing your business is exactly the same way. No one wants to follow your business on Twitter if the only thing you tweet about is like, your promotion salesy, about you and your product. The same with Facebook, Instagram, and so on, and every platform you can think of. Now, you can't just shout, buy my product all the time, right? Just in the nowhere abysm. Instead of that, what you need to do is put your attention on creating content that really resonates with your ideal customer. Content that they want to see and interact with. Right? Let's go back to our same, surf shop. The owner of the surf shop knows the kind of content that Bills want to see. So he uses his Twitter feed to send out live updates from his website and the cameras installed on his surf shop about the tide, the winds, the weather. He creates a gorgeous Instagram feed with his customer surfboards and other gear, and he uses it in Instagram stories. He shares videos of surfers and graphics and sales and blogs and posts, and, he shares all that stuff that it is familiar to his ideal customer. How is your ideal customer using each of their favorite platform? That's a question for you to ask yourself. Are they using Pinterest to find products that they want to buy, what do? Do they prefer video content over reading a blog or a post? Every single customer consumes content different. It can be in video. It can be in podcast. It can be in blogs. People might want to read it, right? So you can create webinars or marketing videos and share them all, right, in YouTube or Facebook, but you need to figure out what does your ideal customer likes. So you can create customer that he wants to see. That's the first step in attracting them to your business and getting them to come to you. You don't have to be constantly going to them, right? Like a multi-level marketing person. That, your family and your friends avoid you because you're like running behind them trying to sell their product and forcing them on them, right? Have you experienced that? If you're in MLM marketing, you'll understand what I'm talking about. People run away. I remember I have this friend, which I loved, and she has this really great product, right? But man, I have to tell you, I used to avoid her because I knew that if I saw her and my subscription was over, I have to subscribe again just to keep her friendship. And it was horrible. And I bet her friends and family felt the same way, right? So this is the beauty about, I guess this is the importance of creating your ideal customer, because your product will start selling, and they will come to you. You don't have to be searching your customer and running behind them, which is horrible. So I hope it helped you. It's just, you can see a couple of examples if you see it on your career in sales, or if you're a business owner, how rough it is to be like searching for your customer and, just walking behind them. And what is the easiest thing that if you give something of value, they come to, if you market correctly, if you hang in the places where they hang around, if you talk their same language, if you really duplicate the way they talk, the way they expose their problems, what problems do they have, and how you come about to solve them, man, you have it made. Have an outstanding.
Thanks for joining us today on 10 Exit. Life and business as usual, never again. We love always hearing from you. Please feel free to send Marina an email, marina@marinasimonbrand.com. Your input and comments are always welcome, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you like the podcast, you can always subscribe to it. Remember, the best way to predict the future is to create it.